final lesson in our chapter. And now we are moving on to our final project, all about designing a town. I am super excited to see all of the great work you guys are going to do. I know you're going to be so creative, but there are a lot of different expectations that I have for this project. So I'm going to go through them very explicitly, very carefully, so that you know exactly what I'm looking for. And then if you have any questions, you can email me those. Before I start talking to you about your expectations, I want you to know that you can use either printed graph paper that you have at home, so you can design this paper pencil. If you do not have access to a paper pencil graph paper, that's totally okay. You can use the online graph paper that I've been linking in our daily slides and create your town using that online resource. So everyone is capable of doing this. And if you choose not to use graph paper and you're going to just create a drawing, like maybe using your a ruler, you can do that as well. But I would just be really careful to make sure that your measurements are making sense, right? So that, like, if your house is 5 units long, your town can't only be 2 units long, right? So just making sure that everything's making sense. It would be the challenge. So if you have printed graph paper, make sure you're using that. Or if you don't, you can use that online resource that I've been linking as well. So let's go ahead and start thinking about those expectations for designing a town. These are your must-dos. Your town must follow these parameters that I'm going to list. There's 3 big steps to go through right here, and then there's some sub-bullet points along the way. So make sure you're listening really carefully. The first thing you must do is your town must be in the shape of a combined rectangle figure. If you're not sure what that is, go back to lesson 3 and watch that video again, right? But it's anytime you have 2 rectangles that are put together to form one shape. This outline of your figure will be your city limits, or the end of your city, the boundary, right? And this is going to help us when we're thinking about questions about our town. So making sure that you have your city limits or the shape of your town defined at the very beginning is a really important first step that's going to set you up for success. So make sure that your town is a combined rectangle figure and that you've labeled those city limits clearly. 2, your town must include the following 8 items. Make sure you're reading these carefully after we watch this video, because some of them have really specific details. So your town must include at least 5 homes. At least, that means that there can be more than 5, but there can't be any less than 5. There can't be 4, 3, 2, 1. Nope, there must be 5. 1 school with an area of 12 units squared and a width of 3 units. Now be careful, because I'm not telling you all of the information you need in order to draw that school correctly. You're going to need to use your critical thinking skills, those math problem-solving skills that I know that you have, in order to figure out the exact dimensions of this school. So make sure you read that carefully. It has an area of 12 units squared and a width of 3 units. You need to have 1 fire department. No specific measurements on that, just 1 fire department. 1 police department with a perimeter of 10 units and an area of 6 units squared. So make sure you really think critically about what the shape of that police department must be. 1 library, no specifics there. At least 3 parks. So at least, right? So it's 3 or more. A shopping center with 1 grocery store and at least 1 other type of store. And then roads to get all over town. So all of your different buildings and locations and parks and all that should all be connected together by roads. Lastly, you need to make sure you label the city limits and label all of the parts that you've created in step 2. Excuse me. If you don't label them as you're creating them, it's going to get a little bit confusing as you go to answer questions about them. All right, so these are your must-dos for your town. You can add anything additionally that you would like to, but this is the bare minimum of what you must include. All right, after you do that, so this isn't going to be due today. You'll have Friday and Tuesday to work on this. After that, we'll be thinking about some extension questions, okay? And here are those extension questions. Like I said, you're not answering them today, but we can keep them in mind as you're working in case that will help you develop your town. So your extension questions is, what is the area and perimeter of your town? You'll be using your city limits in order to figure that out, right? If the public works department was going to put in new grass on all of the parks, how many square units of grass would they need, right? Assuming the parks are completely covered in greenery, how many units of grass would they need? If your park isn't completely covered for some reason and you've noted that in your map of your city, then you'll need to account for that in this question. What is the area of the houses? Is that more than or less than the area of the school? So you're comparing area of the houses to area of the school. Which building has the largest perimeter? Which building has the smallest perimeter? And what is the total area of the town that doesn't have any buildings, roads, or parks? So completely blank. How much of your town, what area of your town is blank? All right. So after we do those extension questions, our final part of this project will be to make a quick Flipgrid video that's introducing your town to your peers. In that Flipgrid video, you're going to show a map of your town. So you'll either show that paper that you have or your digital copy of your town. You're going to include the answers to those extension questions on the previous slide that we just talked through, and then you can share anything else that makes your town unique. So that will be our final wrap up to this project, and you'll be able to view your peers' work and leave them comments and feedback. I'm really excited to see all of your hard work. I think this is going to be really cool, and I'm just super excited. So if you have any questions, please email me directly, and I will try to help you out. But I think you guys are going to do an awesome job. Can't wait.